Hello to my Pisces. This is Queen Amun Ra coming to you with your general reading. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Let's get into it. Happy full moon to everybody. We have a full moon in Capricorn. All right, let's get it. Let's go. Let's see what's going on. Everything I learn will be used for my life's purpose. Everything I learn will be used for my life's purpose. Let's go. So the 7-7 portal is still open, right, until the 11th. So if you're watching this on the 10th, it is still open, and there are still some things that everyone can do. So my cross watchers, if you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. I appreciate all love. Some of the things that you all can do, you can still do while that portal is open, is journal. You know, what truth are you awakening to as it relates to the generational cycle chain and curse that you are supposed to break? um, your assignment, right? So that you're not carrying other people's burdens on your back. Also, meditate or visualize stepping through a radiant doorway. The third thing you can do is set or refine your intentions. Fourth thing you can do is do energy clearing or spiritual protection work, excuse me. And then last but not least is you can listen closely to signs, synchronicities, and repeating number patterns. All right, let's get into it. Let us see what's going on in your reading. All right. Something that someone is breaking is being ruthless and calling people names. Mirroring that type of an energy from a fire sign, Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, being around ruthless energies who call people garden tools, right? When they're really talking about themselves. So somebody is learning how to stay away from those types of energies. And this is breaking some kind of a generational cycle chain and curse, right? And somebody is not going back. Somebody is breaking that chain right away because it's too hurtful for family members, and it's too divisive. It's just not even too divisive. It's just divisive altogether because it puts you in a place of either being on the dark side of 8 either way, and it happens real fast. If you're talking to somebody and you on the dark side of 8, you succumb to passive and powerless behavior, or you're egotistical, materialistic, and forceful. And either way, it's hard to focus around people like that. People always feel ganged up on, like they're around a karmic two people that's in a karmic relationship that's holding on to something, that they jumping people. That's what it feels like in the spiritual realm. Like, okay, around these two, you can't trust them, and people start getting anxious, nervous around these two people. Like, you don't know what's about to pop off around these two people, and people feel bullied around those energies, and they don't know if a fight is going to break out any minute, right? About family members. Pour some alcohol on that fire, and anything could just explode at any point in time. And so something has come to an end. Something has come to an end with the Taurus. Something has come to an end with the Taurus, or a religious group. Somebody has an innate understanding why, innate spiritual understanding why something has come to an end. Somebody has gone into hermit mode. Somebody has gone into hermit mode. Yeah, and somebody has an idea why. Somebody's like, you know what? And somebody's not coming back. A Sagittarius is involved in something. Is involved in something having to do with a religious organization. But here's the 7 of wands here. Something is closed out and people are asking why, but now people are starting to see, like even looking through a crystal ball, somebody could see something crystal clear now. Somebody could see something crystal clear. Like as if they were looking through a crystal ball, like there was some kind of competition going on that people could not see before, but hanging around a fire sign who was ruthless and calling somebody a hoe. That's what they would call somebody, a garden tool, and because they felt like somebody wasn't going to come back, and they sang it around other people. And there's a Taurus involved in something, and people's family could not even see that there was some kind of competition going on. Everybody just blindly well, let me go to a reader and find out what's going on, and this and that. Couldn't see for themselves. This right here, that's number 7 right here, lets me know that everybody was having an awakening. Like God was the one that was striking people with lightning. Come to God first. Talk to God. This was like people was like, okay, these energies are having something their way or the highway. come to God. It was like literally now all of a sudden everybody's like, oh my God, why didn't I just pray about it first? Why didn't I just pray and meditate on something first? Yeah, because these two energies felt like something was their way or the highway. And they planted a seed in an earth sign, planted a seed that's now coming up through the soil. Now everybody looked like they struck by lightning. And so source is saying, everything that you learn will be used for your life's purpose. And now people are seeing something else. People are seeing a different kind of spirit come out of somebody, a totally different kind of spirit come out of somebody. There's a difference between confidence and seeing arrogance. People are starting to see a spirit come out of somebody, like, how somebody was raised, like a seed that was planted in somebody was just like, some people are free spirited. And once they leave, they ain't coming back. They're like, you know what? Once they break away, they not coming back. Somebody now has some kind of idea of how, maybe somebody was bullied in their teenage years at home, with their parents, showed them no love whatsoever. People can only imagine what hell somebody went through in their teenage years, and now people are just starting to wake up. Like, I wonder why they don't even call so certain people, certain family members. How they don't want to be bothered with? They just completely cut people off. People are starting to wake up to why certain people don't want to be bothered with certain people. And so here's the Seven of Pentacles here. And this is something that's generational, because all of this projection going on in the family, people calling people garden tools, and fights breaking out, and the seeds being planted, and people pouring liquor, on fire, alcohol on fire, and people growing up, growing as something is coming out of the and people are seeing that people are growing. Some people grow up and that's all that's poured down their throat is alcohol. And now somebody's seeing, okay, somebody's been just drinking their whole life in secret. Somebody's an alcoholic. That's coming up through the soil, right? Or somebody grow up and they see they just ruthless. Who was they raised around? They was ruthless. Or somebody out here just, once they leave family behind, they ain't coming back. They can't wait to get away from energies. They literally relocate. And somebody's really looking at two family members now that could have left a geographical location. They could have moved whatever country, because this is the World Wide Web, whatever country you're in, if you're watching this, if you have two family members, core family members that moved away from the family, right? They could have moved away from the lies of the family. That could have just been for them. Hey, it's just too much chaos and confusion with the core group of the family. That could have been their generational cycle chain and curse, that they, like, if you got two like aunts, uncles, maybe cousins, or somebody who just geographically left the core group of the family. So source is saying yours could be hanging around loved ones who are ruthless, who just be saying anything out of their mouth, and so you're breaking a chain. You're breaking some kind of chain. You're like, I ain't hanging around certain people. I ain't hanging out at church with these people. I'm not worshiping with these people. I want to have nothing to do with these energies. These two types. There's the stuff that they do behind people's backs. They too intently focused on bullying people behind, people's backs when their loved ones back when they move on. Yeah, they too intent on bullying people behind their backs when people move on. But they would not do that mess in somebody else's face. So something is closed out. They'll do that and go right on back to church and worship like nothing ever happened. So like teenagers, like everything is a competition. Yeah. So source is saying to you, here's the Seven of Cups here. These fire signs here, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, and somebody's family, it's not all of them. They worship together at a church, or maybe they have the same, denomination, or maybe it's a non-denominational church, mosque, or temple, or whatever. But source is saying that seed was planted very early on to just be ruthless. Be ruthless when it comes. They're all free spirited. They're very free with what they say with each other. Just be crossing boundaries, doing all kinds of stuff behind people's backs. And this time they thought they were going to get away with something, but they didn't. hmm This time they thought they were going to get away with something, but they didn't. Source is saying, so your generational cycle, chain, and curse that you are breaking is realizing that nobody gets away with anything. Nobody. Nobody gets away with anything. Whether people move on and they're remorseful and they pray to God, to help them, or, you know, or they, um, stay away from people or heal in some way, shape, form, or fashion, or something that people do. I was watching something, Pisces, where this guy, it was on a talk show, and he was saying him and his friend, they were teenagers. He said him and his friends, I forgot what it was. I forgot exactly what the crime was. I want to say it was one of those shows, like it was like one of those older talk shows, but it was, I want to say it was five friends, and it was kind of like a situation like the Central Park Five, if people are familiar with that story. But this is a different situation, a different city, different whatever in the United States. But one of them, nothing happened to him. Like, and everybody assumed that he made some kind of a deal or whatever, but there was nothing happened to that person, right? But this person, when they all came back together on this show, this person, he felt so horrible. He was just like, he was while they may have been, incarcerated in a physical sense, he was in his own mental incarceration. He was in his own mental jail for years. And then when people really kind of heard about the stuff that he had gone through, like his own personal hell that he had gone through, that's when people started accepting his apology and remorseful and everything, because they assumed, they were all like kids, they were teenagers. And they were all like, well, we thought that you said, everybody thought something, all these familiar, somebody said this and somebody said that. So source is saying some people just move on from family members because there's just too much violence going on in the family. This is this right here. Just, so somebody's making a decision now to focus on, you have some kind of a partnership in business and or in love coming across your path, if it's not already there. That's really solid and stable. So somebody is now making a decision to focus on self-love and just being balanced out. But that's the decision that somebody's making. Somebody is saying, you're freeing yourself. You're breaking that chain, altogether, um, and being whole and complete. So you're breaking away from something, as far as family is concerned. And somebody is going solo. Like somebody is solo. Somebody is walking out of something. Somebody is walking away from, this is 7 and 4 is 11. Somebody is walking away from something and planting some seeds and just learning how to just move on, keeping your vibrations high, and you're just moving on from something. Yep, you're moving on from something. Yeah, because something has just been overwhelming in terms of like psychic gifts. Something has just been overwhelming. Or just like who's running and what pack people are running in, So something has come into it, and it's just like what people believe. And that's what I keep trying to tell people, like, be careful of who judging who, of like people thinking they doing stuff in secret. Sources exposing everybody, literally exposing everybody. Something with a Taurus moon. Somebody made a decision. A man and a woman made a decision about a Taurus. Somebody who has a Taurus moon. As soon as they walk through a door, somebody made a decision about a Taurus moon. And as far as somebody coming in getting a reading, somebody, I'm seeing this crystal ball on here, and somebody made a decision about them. Something was their way or the highway. As soon as somebody came through the door, like they started celebrating. They couldn't wait until some kind of a Saturn return. In other words, they couldn't wait for somebody to leave so this energy could be by themselves. This couple, they could not wait for somebody to leave so this energy could be somewhere by themselves, vulnerable, so they could be ruthless behind somebody's back, and they showing that they were open enemies. So yeah, a decision has been made. Because now people are talking about how cold-hearted this karmic couple is. To somebody's son. And they were determined to bring out, they were determined to enlighten people, you know, using some kind of a woodwind instrument. Musical instrument. They were determined to enlighten people about something. They put a lot of energy and effort into something. Very aggressive. Somebody wanted to run away. But they might want to use somebody's words against them, play all of these mind games. Something really, really scared someone here, and they wanted to just run away from something. That's why there's so much fire here in the cards. Somebody is very, very protected from these two energies. The judgment is coming down for what they did, and then tried to drag somebody else into some mess. But everything you learn will be used for your life's purpose. Somebody is learning to not link up with somebody else's family. When you come from that same kind of family where it's all this violence in somebody's family, people calling people's names, garden tools, and all this other. Some people's family just wilding out. Somebody put a lot of familiar spirits around somebody, a man and a woman. Could be your family member. Somebody put familiar spirits around these energies to kind of sort of scare people, but anybody's scared of these people. So, Three of Swords. It's just disappointing that grown adults would do this. That's the disappointing part. But scared. Source is saying judgment is coming down on some energies who like to show that they're open enemies. They act like a bunch of teenagers. But this was started with a karmic church couple. This is a church couple. Somebody doesn't want a secret out. That's what the moon card is. Somebody does not want a secret out. So what they're doing is causing a bunch of confusion and trying to put something out on somebody by collecting information about people's past and trying to put it all around the world to keep the attention off of them. But this obsession with something else exposed the real secret. Nobody even had to say anything. This obsession with these two people right here exposed what their secret really was. Nobody had to say one word. Yeah, they have a secret. They have a fetish with sex, and that was what was exposed. So something in somebody now is just they not the same. So nobody even said anything about sex, but they exposed themselves. Nobody even said anything about it. They just assumed, oh, I'm familiar with this, I'm familiar with that, and I know, I think they could talk about this, and people assuming people talking about people need to raise their frequency. Need to raise their frequency. Rise, judgment. They expose themselves, shall. They just expose themselves. This right here, this moon card and this sun card, the sun sits behind the moon. They expose themselves through someone's sun from what they did. Yep. Trying to send a message to somebody, they expose themselves. That's what I'm talking about. Like that's what I tell people. Don't watch readings if everything is going if you don't think everything is about you, then you don't need to watch readings. Yeah, it looks like somebody was obsessed with watching people on social media and telling, oh, they lying about this, they lying about that. Somebody said this what all this fire is about. Putting all these familiar spirits, people listening to people's conversations, parked outside of people's doors, spending all this money on stuff, planting stuff, all of this for thinking somebody talking about somebody. People that moved on with their life. This is what this is, rising above judgment. So it's like, look, rise above judgment. Learn how to create very firm boundaries. When you leave energies behind, leave it behind completely. If you're a reader, just like you would keep your pictures, well, I mean, I can't tell you what to do. I don't know what people put on social media, but people gonna think what they want to be. They're gonna think and believe what they want to believe and think. But familiar spirits, I say that now and forever, they are dangerous. Is a world card. Two things are closed out. They are dangerous. They don't ever get a full story about anything. They just take stuff and run with it. Here's a temperance card. And if they got a temper, that's even worse. So somebody comes from this kind of family, and that's the cycle chain and curse that somebody is breaking. Is like you're protecting your water. Come away from that. Come away from those types of energies. That you come from a family of people who have tempers. Stay as far away from those type of energies as possible. As possible. That's why somebody don't operate. Somebody people, if it's you relatives, your relatives don't operate in fear, even if they move away from that kind of stuff because they came away from this. They came from away from the same kind of family. That's why they don't operate in fear. They operate by faith. That's why they don't need a prayer partner. They don't need a prayer partner. They know how to pray to God by themselves. They're not worried about these people at all. Ain't worried about them at all. They grew up in just the same kind of jungle these people grew up in. They are not worried. Seven of Cups. They grew up around snakes too. So that's what Source is trying to tell you is the you and but you know how to protect your energy by staying away from those types of energies. Once they start talking about whatever teenage crap, craziness, and all this, you just stay away from them. They talking about fighting people and arguing and all of it. Just nothing conversation that shows that they haven't developed beyond the age of 21. They still talking about that same boundary. You're not looking down on people. You're just helping people to adjust their crowns. That's it. That's it. High vibrational. Helping people to adjust their crown. Because who at a certain age is talking about putting their hands on somebody? Like what in the world? Low vibrational as it gets. You shouldn't even want to be contaminated. Here's I am nurturing. Number 6. Your heart is your gift. You are a natural born nurturer and have a great talent for helping and healing others. You are the epitome of self-sacrifice and a protector of those you love. Yeah. Why do that when you can dial 911? Let them deal with it. So have faith in your dreams. Yeah, somebody is when you're not a nurturer, you're not nurturing that type of energy. You ain't giving no. So yeah, so somebody's a high priestess. Somebody's already gone through enough dark nights of the soul, and this is what's bringing out the high priestess in somebody. Somebody is really focusing on learning how to pull people out of dark spaces and bringing people into the light, enlightening people about what to stay away from, and that's light work. That is light work. You have to go through dark periods and bring people into the light. That's light work. You don't operate in fear. You're operating in your purpose. You don't fear what. So this right here is everybody. This is Five of Pentacles. Everybody is a pick me, literally. Everybody wants to be chosen to be part of a job, a friendship group, a circle. But the main energy you want to be chosen by is source. That's when you rise above this here. That's what I'm seeing here in your cards. That's who you're nurturing. You're nurturing source inside of you. You don't have to operate in fear. You don't have to call people guardian tools. You don't have to be like, oh, they better not come back and all that. Who is doing that? Yeah, King of Cups here. So anyway, somebody is somebody is now, coming back emotionally mature. Um emotionally mature. It may have taken somebody some time to become emotionally mature, but somebody's coming back possibly to you emotionally mature. That seed was planted maybe before, but somebody's coming back to you emotionally mature. And it could have been because they were around people where they had to be in survival mode, but they're coming back to you emotionally mature, whoever this energy is. Yeah. So that's some really good news. Yeah, that's some really good news there. But who is this here? 653. Yeah, somebody said something to you very disrespectful. This could have been somebody's child. They could have said something to you very disrespectful, but that seed was planted in a very toxic masculine space that you may have had to put them out, whoever you are. But they're going to come back very, very humble, and they're going to come back very, very emotionally mature. And it won't be a game for them because they're not starting to see something totally different now. Totally, totally different. Because nobody wants to be in that survival mode all the time, where people are treating them like they are just non-existent. Nobody wants to be in that. So somebody is people are learning that a lot of people had this in common. A lot of people had this in common. Like, that's what law enforcement is for. That's what their job is for. 911. I think that's the same number wherever. Nobody, who out here acting like that? Let them do their job. You don't have time for all of that. So yeah, that's how people realize that people don't get away with anything. Like everybody's karma comes back to get them in some way. So you don't have to see it. You pray for people and move on. hmm Somebody is somebody may be a part of a group now, where somebody may feel supported. It could be a church group that you're a part of now where you may feel supported, in the group where you are, whoever you are. You may have an innate spiritual understanding of things now, just kind of because you are the Hierophant. Like, you may have a understanding of just like talking to people, how like how things how speaking things into existence. Yeah, speaking things into existence. But yeah, at some point, some people desire. That's why some people put their energy into working harder for themselves, coming out of certain environments. You know, um, to raise their frequency. They don't want to be around certain energies. There's all of this, you know, chaos and confusion going on all the time. So Source is saying, just be still. Just get some rest. Get some rest. Yep, get some rest. So that's why a lot of people put their energy towards working hard, minding their business, trying to grow their money, minding their business behind closed doors. They're not spending a whole lot of money on a bunch of stuff. They're just staying focused, doing the mirror work. They just move on through their storms of life quietly. They're not trying to be pulled back into a bunch of mess. None of that. They're just trying to heal from heartbreak, loss, divorce, surgery, depression, suffering, grief. They're just trying to move on from those things. So, like I said, even if you're a reader and you're trying to enlighten people, bring people up, don't use your own personal stuff. Just keep that off social media. You're trying to enlighten people, like bring people up out of dark place, help them into the light. But that's what I have for you in this reading. You're going to feel very fortunate that you're on top of things. And looking at your cards here, you're making a decision. Somebody is like I said before, everything that you learn will be used for your life's purpose. And just how you're going to learn how to start nurturing yourself. This is what you're doing. You're learning how to nurture yourself. That's what you're doing. But yeah, this whoever these fire signs are, they could have been in survival mode. Somebody could have been had a very somebody may not have felt nurtured growing up. Could be you. You could have maybe not felt nurtured by a fire sign growing up, and that could have, boiled your water. Since your water sign could have boiled your water, so your ex wants to return. Oh Lord, somebody enemy's plan backfired. Should you double back for them? Take your time to decide. But somebody ex wants to. I don't know what an ex is, but we have make room for a new blessing. So somebody apologizes for hurting you. Your new home awaits. Step through the portal. Yeah, you have a new attitude. Yeah, you inspire them to heal, move in silence and move in peace. Journal your journey. Prepare for an increase in pay. Somebody's an incubus spirit. More money is coming soon. So yeah, I don't listen. Y'all already know if it's an ex. Somebody, I don't know what people's situation is, but if you were in survival mode with an ex, I don't believe in sending people back into a lion's den. So that's totally your decision. But anyway, that's what I have for you. That is what I have for somebody. And I will see you all in the next video. See you in the next video. I think that's it. But yeah, this not lion, let's say Lionsgate portal. That's on 8/8. I was getting ready to say Lionsgate portal. My mind is thinking about the head about Lionsgate portal because we already stopped filming for that. But anyway, so this 7/7 portal is still open until the 11th. So if you're watching it on the 10th, watching this video on the 10th, then you still have another day, to really start asking source, what exactly is your generational cycle chain or curse that you're breaking? Let Source shine a light on that secret. Like switch the energy. That's what Source trying to get you to do. Switch the energy. Come back up to a higher frequency. Switch the energy so that you can stay laser focused. And that's what somebody's gonna be praying by themselves about. Somebody's like, you know what? I don't need a prayer partner to ask God. I don't need to be in a group of people to ask God what kind of what generational cycle chain and curse is specifically designed for me, just me, not my siblings. If you have siblings, if you're only child, not my cousins, or if you don't have any cousins, not my mom or dad, or my best friend or neighbor or whoever. For me, what is my generational cycle chain and curse that I'm supposed to break? What's my assignment? It's like you just, you know, anticipating, like excited, like a kid, like, okay, I'm standing in front of source inside of me asking source, what's my generational cycle chain? What's my assignment? Excitedly asking. And that's what I feel like somebody is doing. You're not worried about some ex. So yeah, laziness. Yeah, anything you put your other energy towards, it's going to dehydrate you and it's going to make you feel like you're just being lazy. Anything else? Them look like them shoes on that video, them white sandals on that video. Yeah, you just want to sit around and maybe listening to you know, somebody needs to listen to some high vibrating music to pour back into you. Because otherwise, if you're listening to low vibrating music, it could be just draining your energy, remembering about sad love songs and we broke up and this and that. And that could be shining a light on some other stuff that you're just feeling sad. So somebody could be to lift your spirits. It's time to listen to some high vibrating music to pour back into yourself, the vibration of, something high vibrational, because you got some new things coming across your path. Yeah, somebody got a new home they moving into. They starting to move in silence and move in peace. More money coming across your path. There could be a new job. Somebody is determined to do their shadow work, and I love this. Yeah, you and somebody are determined to do your shadow work, and this is great. Y'all may be apart from each other, but you're determined to do your shadow work. You're getting away from these karmic couples. So 1111, somebody's awakening. The universe is arranging people and experiences on your path to help you succeed and helping you to wake up to who you truly are. That is what I have for you. Hopefully this is helpful. See you in the next video. Bye.